That's what I would do. That's what I should have done.
Here. Might be Tony's right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said maybe. Download it too.
That's a great picture.
Huh?
Pre-encrypted tape. That's awesome.
What did you say though?
Huh?
What did you say?
I said that's a great picture you've got.
Oh, thank you. It's my best side, you know.
That's a sort of drug deal going on.
They're kind of like a Mobius strip. You only really have one side.
A Mobius strip?
Mobius strip, a one-sided object.
He's busy thinking about encryption. Don't distract him, man.
That's my job.
Yeah.
They really got cake?
I think it's a lot.
Oh.
Fairly severe. I wasn't bored, but right?
I don't see anybody with that. Kevin's pocket. Yeah, it's in the back. Come on, Brian. Pay attention.
They've been hot. Kevin's been hot.
Yeah.
Cake all the time.
I have a podcast.
What is it?
It's the Sunday Morning Lunch Review.
Ooh, what podcast would that be again? I didn't hear.
And
Sunday morning Lennox review.
What was
we're doing
it?
the Sunday Morning Lunch Review.
What?
Saturday night.
I can't hear you. Speak louder.
9 a.m. on Sunday morning.
It's one of the rare Sunday morning recording for live.
How early Sunday morning?
9 o'clock.
9 to 11. 9 o'clock hour and 10 o'clock hour. We'll be doing a live.
So Matt, that's the one that
I'm
you're
going to have a whole
here?
pocket full.
Yeah, because you're not eating
I did. I actually gave them ribbons downstairs, but you gave more ribbons up here.
Stand on the belt.
By the way, Matt's my resident heckler.
Thank you.
Matt's the co-host and Mary's co-host also of the podcast.
Already have one.
Okay, is it alive?
Oh.
There's only 2 pieces left. The cake will shortly be alive.
So you want to get a ribbon or you want to come up and say hi? Stuff right here. At the Continental Hall.
I'll take one of those.
All right.
Oh, good, we got throwing happening.
All right.
Happy face.
So
So,
I'm going to heckle and he's going to throw things at you. Be ready.
we're doing a Google Hangout on air, so anybody at home is listening in.
How would they know about it? Who listening?
They check out my YouTube channel, my Google Plus, Facebook, IRC channel.
But it wasn't advertising the program or anything real like
Or
that.
the
right?
NSA.
Well, for people, if this is in the program, they'd be here. Anyway, and then afterwards, it's also, I'm going to take the, it's going to be posted on YouTube, and I'm recording on audio, so I also have an audio version available. There'll be links in our podcast, Sunday Morning Linux Review, and also on my business webpage, which is bemushosting.com. Kevin O'Brien?
Hello.
I'll fix that. 20 minutes with Kevin O'Brien.
It's okay. So I am also a podcaster. I record shows for Hacker Public Radio, and I'm doing a series there on security and privacy. And in fact, yesterday's show, Friday, May 2nd, was Tony and I together talking about signing of PGP or GPG keys. There's other programs there that talk about how to set up encryption and K9. I'm working on one for K9 Mail on Android. I've got already a couple up there, one for Thunderbird, one for Gmail. And also written articles on those on the website, which is zwilnik.com. So,
Very cool.
more information for anyone that wants it.
Yep, so the whole thought, about 6 months ago, I started sitting down looking at everything that was happening with the privacy concerns and revelations. So I decided I wanted to start looking into how to keep myself private and how to also keep, authenticity, making sure you know the person you're talking to. So that's where I started studying this, and I do a little security bit on our podcast also. So I, little things about either encryption, GPG, or other security concerns that's going on in the week. My mouse is right here. Here we go. All right, so why did PGP and GPG come about? So Phil Zimmerman was sitting there, and he saw that the Senate Bill 266 was coming out or was being discussed, and that was designed to force the manufacturer of security keys by backdoor to the U.S. government. And he thought that bad thing. So he wanted to put something together that's PGP. It's a pretty good protection. And but fortunately, the bill was defeated, so PGP was created. And then the open source version is GPG, or the GNU Privacy Guard, and that was created by Werner Cook in '99. And he was concerned that the PGP was getting a little too commercialized, so he wanted to work on getting the open version.
Yeah, I think at the time PGP was proprietary. I think Zimmerman opened it up after that. But
it was freeware, but it wasn't.
The concern was that it wasn't open source, and so GPG came out of that.
So how does GPG work? It uses a key pair, so there's private and public keys. With that, but it uses both symmetric and asymmetric encryption. So it goes through and uses the asymmetric key, or symmetric key that encrypts the message, and then asymmetrically encrypts the message using the keys. So basically, what happens is asymmetric means one way. So it has one key that it encrypts with, and symmetric. Right? Did I say that wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Really, the issue here is that symmetric encryption is not as intensive in your computing resources, so you can run it quickly. The problem that you run into is that means that you're sharing the key back and forth. So, you know, I send an email to Matt, you know, bit of insanity, and say, Matt, I want you to communicate with me securely. I've included in the email my encryption key. And, you know, the NSA hoovers it up and then can read everything that we do. So the idea of the asymmetric, public versus private, it gets around that because what you're doing is using a one-way mathematical function. In this case, it happens to involve multiplying very large prime numbers together. That's called one-way because you can multiply them really fast. Figuring out from this huge number what the factors are can be very difficult. So you create this key pair, and the idea is I can take my public key and email that to Matt and say, Matt, here's my public key. Now you can communicate with me.
And then when I want to send Kevin an email, I encrypt it with his public key and send it off.
And then with my private key, I can decrypt.
Yeah, exactly. You can either send public keys around, or there's key servers that are distributed on the internet. And so you can search for any person and grab their public key and then be able to communicate that way.
Yeah.
It's cross-platform, and there's GUI programs available to do this. So it doesn't have to be in Linux or on the command line. You can do it in Windows and Mac and Android. It's all sorts of things available. Do you have a question?
I was just going to say they have plugins for some mail programs. I've had GPG plugged into my Thunderbird for a decade. Nobody wants to trade messages with me, though, so I haven't actually used it.
Yeah.
Hey, well, give me an email. We'll do a little bit. So here's a little picture of kind of how it works. So like I said, there's a random number is generated and encrypts the message, and then takes the public key of the person you're sending it to and encrypts that also, and it's together in the message. And then whenever you go to decrypt it, you have the key that's been encrypted, which can be decrypted only by your private key, or the person sending the recipient's private key. And then now you have that key that was created up here, then you can decrypt the message. And then, so there's a few ways to set it up, and I especially talk about Linux here because that's my big thing. But like I said, there's GUI programs for Windows.
Yeah.
And there's also GUI programs for Linux. So you can go through and set up, you can create keys, you can sync it back to the key servers, and you know, in Mint, these are the 3 key servers that are set up by default. The Ubuntu key servers, SKS, and PGP. But the key servers all propagate across each other. So if you send it to one, then Ubuntu is also going to get your public key. And you only send your public key out. You always keep your private key private.
So, Tony, where are these key servers? Who owns those?
They're owned by the community. I mean, there's public and private companies that run them.
Anybody can actually. It doesn't matter who has one because, like they said,
It's only your public key that's ever on them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
the whole goal is meant for public to know to know.
Right.
Right.
So
the more you broadcast it, the better it is.
it's like DNS. All right. Anyone can have a DNS server. You could set up one for your home if you wanted to, and it would simply sync with other DNS servers and get all the updates. Well, the same thing with key servers. They talk to each other. So I think mine is GPG.
Okay. I just set mine up to SKS. Everybody gets them, so it doesn't really matter.
That is frequently used by a lot of people. It doesn't